Well, good morning YouTube, and welcome back to Retired for Life. We got a few small projects to take care of here today. One of them is dealing with a squirrel issue. We have really had an issue with red squirrels out here. They can be unbelievably destructive. I've seen videos of people that make pets out of them and that kind of thing. I would never do that. We actually had them get in the house once. They chewed through the screens on the windows to the storage room, and it took us a week to get them out of the house. It was just unbelievable how much destruction they caused in that amount of time. It was really something. So I have a live trap set up outside of an entry point that I know they use. So whenever I catch them there, they go for a little ride. So I've got a spot inside our lockup, and I've talked about this room a couple of times, that's going to eventually become our sunroom, where I believe they're getting into the house. So we're going to go up there, and I've got to try to get my big extension ladder in there because that room is so high, and see if I can get to that spot, and we're going to have a look at whether or not that's where they're going in. So we're in the room here that I refer to as the lockup, and you can see right up at the roof line here, there's some boards along here. Some of them are tipped out, and they've been looking like this for a little while, and I haven't paid that much attention to them. But at the very least, there's probably mice going in there. So I need to do something with that, and part of that is I need to get my patio furniture into here and stored for the winter. So I want to get this fixed first. So I got to get the ladder in here, and we'll see what we can figure out. Alright guys, let's get up here and have a look. Now, I already knocked off these first couple of boards. Yeah, oh my goodness. Is that a way in for them or what? I'm not sure what these holes are supposed to do. So I'll have to come up. Yeah, look at that. We're going right into the house through this. Holy mackerel. I'm thinking that they might have been thinking that these holes would work like ventilation or something like that, and I can kind of understand that. But this is terrible. What do you think? You think there's an issue there? Well, there we go, guys. The Squirrel Hotel is closed. Now, with that done, I can start bringing in the patio deck furniture, get it stashed in here for the winter. And I've got another solar light to put up. So, let's get on to the next job. Well, the snow has arrived. We got about 4 centimeters last night. And this was expected, so no surprise. But they are now talking about a possible additional 4 centimeters tonight. So this depth of snow is no issue at all. I wouldn't bother doing anything with it whatsoever. But considering we might be getting more, I think I've got it, so I might as well put the snowblower on the back of the tractor and then park the tractor, so just in case it'll be ready to go. All right, let's get the heater going inside the shop and we'll get that snowblower on. That stuff right there, because it's not Christmas yet. All right, guys, the snowblower is all set to go. One of the things I do with my snowblowers, I've always done it, and I'm going to do it the same with this, is I don't want the snow to stick in here. And when you get heavy wet snow, it does have a real tendency to want to jam up the chute, jam up your impeller, and jam up your auger. So you've got to watch for that. And one of the things that I have seen that works really well is the use of a spray, to a non-stick spray, to help things go through. Now, I've seen people use a WD-40, use a liquid silicone spray and all that kind of thing. But they're fairly expensive. So what I have fooled around with a few times is a no-stick kitchen spray. So this is a canola oil spray, so it's all natural. And it's also a lot cheaper than the liquid silicone or the WD-40 or that kind of thing. So this is what works for me. So I'm going to give this a really good spraying inside and around and everything before I actually set this thing down. Another thing to watch out for is after you're done your snow blowing, make sure you clean everything out. I always did that with the snowblower on the John Deere, with my walk-behind snowblowers, because there is a real danger that you could damage something the next time you go to use it. Because if you have freezing temperatures and that snow melts a little bit inside your snowblower and then freezes, you could end up with a great big block of ice inside here. And the one that is really tough to see is the one that lays in the bottom here of the impeller. Now this impeller on this particular snowblower has very little clearance, and I like to see that. That means it's going to be that much more efficient. But it also means you need to really watch the indent here that the impeller is turning in, because if you get ice in there, I don't know how well this will react to that. So we'll avoid that as much as possible. So we'll give this thing a good spray down, finish wiping off the snow, and then set this down on the ground. And that will be it for this. And if we do get that heavy snow tonight, I'll be ready for it tomorrow. All right, guys, the next little job is to set up the solar light. Now, I'm not out at the storage domes very often at nighttime, but maybe on occasion I might need to. This was about 50% off at Canadian Tire, so I'm quite pleased with the other little solar lights I've got. This one is a motion detector solar light, and it's like a spotlight. And from what I understand from the reviews, it's pretty bright too. So we'll get this hung up and pointed towards the tractor dome. So if I have to come out here at night to get the tractor, all I have to do is walk over there and the light will come on. And that will make things a little easier. Well, there's my solar light in place. And the panel there a fair bit higher up in the tree. I had to cut a little angled piece to put underneath the base of the panel because it was the only way I could get it to tip back without putting it upside down. And just looking at the way the wire went into the panel, it looked to me like there was a real good chance that water is going to flow right along that wire into the panel. So just a quick block underneath it and everything's good. Alright guys, we've got a little bit of work to do here to get the Christmas decorations figured out. So I built this little hut last year for the laser projectors, and that was right pretty much close to Christmas time, so I didn't really get it totally finished. So this has to get stained. So I'm going to take this inside, let it warm up, and then this evening I'll probably stain it. And then I've got these two lights here that are just under a white bucket. Now, the white bucket thing worked okay. It protected the lights, but the buckets glowed, and I didn't really like the looks of that. So I'm going to make a couple of little houses to put those in. And I've got the big inflatable Santa Claus type display here. It's about 6 feet long and 4 feet high. Now the issue I've had with that a couple of times is it tends to end up getting stuck to the ground. So what I'm going to do is build a narrow skid long enough for it that it can sit on top of the skid. And then it shouldn't be too much of an issue to put the thing away after that. So I think the skid for the long 6-foot one will be the first thing that we're going to work on today. So I'm going to go up to the lumber storage tent and grab a couple of 1-inch by 8-inch planks and bring them down. And I've got some big 4x4 pieces that I'm going to cut to use as a base under those planks. And we'll get that put together. But first I think we'll do a test inflate on this thing just to make sure everything is working okay. Alright guys, let's put some power to it and see what happens. Now last year, the little transformer that powers it burned out. But fortunately, I had another transformer of the same size that I could just splice on, so I did that. And hopefully it's still working. Well, looks pretty good. We'll do a couple of quick measurements, go get our boards, and make our skid up here for this. Alright guys, this thing is actually 8 feet long, so I won't be cutting off anything of my 8-foot boards, and that's fine. I'm just going to take this thing apart and reuse the boards for something else come next year, or the end of the Christmas season when I take all this stuff down. So I have gone out and cut a couple of very rough pieces that were left over. You can see it's quite rounded and on the edge and that kind of thing. And that doesn't matter for what I'm doing with these things. It's just sitting on the ground. So this will hold this thing up off the ground with our Santa Claus display mounted on top of it. So we'll get the first 5x5 in and flip it around and get the next one on. And then we'll look at getting everything all fastened to it. Alright guys, there is the skid complete for the Santa Claus inflatable display. We're going to take this out, put it in place. There are the couple of strings that you see in the front coming down here and here. There are ones also in the back, and they're just going to get attached to hooks to the house. So this thing won't be able to go anywhere, and it should be pretty easy to tidy up and put away at the end of the season. So I'll take this out, get those back strings attached, and then a tarp goes over top of it with a couple of boards on it. Well guys, there is the laser projection box all stained and ready to go out. Well guys, there's another one of the little huts all done. This is the first of the ones for these kaleidoscope type lights. All I have left to do is stain it. That's my prototype. I'm quite happy with it. Now these lights are designed to be able to sit out on their own without any kind of cover or anything. But what I didn't like about it was how much light got in your eyes as you came up in towards the door of the house. So I decided, well, let's give them a little bit of protection, and this way I can angle them off a little bit, and you're not going to have all that light going in your eyes as you come up towards the house. So that will work a little better. And I'm just using up scrap wood and having a little bit of fun with this. So we're all set. One more to go, and then we'll put these in place. And then I'll be pretty close to being done with the Christmas decorations on the outside of the house. So things are looking pretty good. And we've got a storm coming in, so it's time to make sure everything is ready to go for that. Alright guys, thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you out on the trails the next time.